Hello all, I'm Sai and you're watching The Book Dragon. In today's video, I'm bringing to you 10 books that you need to read while you are in your 20s. So without any further ado, let's get into today's video. I'm specifically telling that these books are to be read in your 20s mainly because 20s is the time during which most of us step into our careers, and that is the starting point of our life mostly. And most of us don't have an idea of how life is going to treat us, and I'm sure that while you read these 10 books, you'll be getting a rough idea of how you can handle certain things in life, and rather than getting into something that huge without having a plan or an idea of what it is going to be, it is better to know something or have a rough plan of what you're going to do. So without any further ado, let's get into the 10 books. The first book that I'm recommending today is The Prophet by Khalil Gibran. And in this book we have a sailor who comes to a place, and in that place there are many people just like in any other village or town. And in this place all these people ask different questions to the sailor, and the answers that the sailor gives to these people are the various chapters in the book. As the chapters in the books are pieced in such a way that they form each and every step in one's life, I'm sure that if you read this, you'll be able to get an idea of what this book is actually about and what it has to do with your life and the destination that you are headed towards. The main thing about this book is that it is so precise and to the point. Every word in this book matters a lot. That's mainly because it is such a short book. You see, it's not even 150 pages long, but it has taken more than 11 years for Khalil Gibran to write this, and every single word in this has a meaning, and some things even have multiple meanings which we have to dissect and read again and again in order to understand all of them. The next book that I'm recommending is Siddhartha by Herman Hesse. Now, Herman Hesse is a Nobel Prize winning author, and in this book, Siddhartha, he has reimagined and told the story of Gautama Buddha, who's the founder of the Buddhism religion. And in this book, we get the entire story of Siddhartha, or Gautama Buddha as he is known, and it is reimagined by Herman Hesse. It is not the actual story of Buddha, but the version of Buddha's story that has been concocted by Herman Hesse. I'm recommending this book because it tells us certain deep things in life in just a few lines. It is a very short book, but it will take a lot of time to read because it is very hard to get through. The scenes that have been shown in this book that Buddha endures in order to attain enlightenment, and each and everything which he understands and realizes after each and every incident takes place, they are so powerful, they are so power packed, they are so intense, and they will take a lot of time to read. And I'll say that the best way to read this short book is to read it slow and get every ounce of profit that you can get out of this. The next book that I'm recommending today is Animal Farm by George Orwell. This is also a classic, and in this, George Orwell has designed two pigs who take over all the animals in the animal farm, and they are like they are trying to overpower the human beings in order to take control of themselves. That is, animal beings cannot rule them or tame them anymore. They are going to take care of their themselves, and the politics that occurs even in the minds of animals after getting power, and how they act just like human beings in a very political and dirty political way that has been put forward by George Orwell very well in this story. And I'm sure that all the George Orwell books that I have read until now, they are very much related to the socio-economic status of the society in a great way, and I'm sure that this is the best of all those that I have read. This is a very easy read, guys. It is not even tough to get through. You just have to sit down for an hour or two and you have to read this book, because the writing style is simple, but the amount of clarity that he gives using such simple words, it is really unbelievable. And I'm sure that if you read this, you'll be seeing life from a different point of view, and it will make your point of view even more clear. The next book that I'm recommending is Tuesdays with Morrie by Mitch Albom. This is one of the most famous non-fiction or self-help books out there, because it is actually the memoir of this person called Morrie, and he is the professor of the author Mitch Albom. And Mitch Albom talks about his experience on the Tuesdays during which he met Professor Morrie. The special thing about Professor Morrie is that he has been diagnosed with a nervous condition or nervous disorder which has caused like a major paralysis of his body, and he's dying inch by inch. That's exactly what's happening to him. And despite the things that he's experiencing and the slow death that he's being taken through, he sees life in such a different point of view. He perceives the things which we see as difficulties, and using the using the vision of his mind, he just transforms everything to such a positive vibe. And also I'm sure that if you're looking for motivation, this is the book which you have to pick up. It will not at all take time, guys. It will take maximum an hour or an hour and a half if you sit down and read this book. But the amount of knowledge and insight that you will get after reading this book will be very much immense, and I'm sure that you will be thanking this author for having written this book. The next book that I'm recommending is Ignited Minds by Dr. A.P.J. Abdul Kalam. Now, if you're a person who's studying in college, I'd highly recommend you to read this. I'd recommend you to read this to such an extent that stop watching this video, go get this book and read it, because it will not even take 2 hours for you to read this one, but the amount of insight and knowledge that you'll be receiving from this one will be immense. Because in this, Dr. A.P.J. Abdul Kalam has discussed certain steps which we youngsters or college goers or people working in general can follow in order to make the nation a developed nation. After reading this book, I understood how much possible it was to make India a developed nation by 2020, which was his vision. That is not satisfied until now, and I'm sure that it's not going to be possible by the end of 2020 because of all the things that have been going on right now. But if we follow the things that he has said in this book, along with a lot of other things due to the future is going to bring towards us, we will be able to become a developed nation, and you will understand why I'm saying this after reading this book for sure. The next book that I'm recommending is Why Do You Wear a Cheap Watch by Hans Fallada. Now, in this book we have 3 short stories, and all of them are stories which actually happened in real life in Germany during the time of World War II. And in this book, the first one is the main story, which is why do you wear a cheap watch. And I'll not tell you what the story is about because it's just 10 pages long. It will not even take 10 minutes to read this, and it will be very much impactful because this book is one which tells the importance of responsibility and how responsible a person needs to be in order to become better in life. One of the main things which people face is that though they want to be responsible, that feeling of responsibility doesn't come from within, and in order to trigger that, we have to do certain things, and that those things can be very easily done by us, and they are discussed very easily in these 3 stories. It is a very short book, and I highly suggest you to try this because it will not even take an hour for you to read, and it will be very much impactful in your life. The next book that I'm recommending today is Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka. Now, in this book we have a man named Gregor Samsa who wakes up one morning and finds that he has been transformed into an insect, and this insect is very huge, the size of a human. It has a hard shell in the back and many legs and other features that a normal insect has. But the thing about this is that the insect is not an insect but Gregor Samsa, and his family also finds out that he has been transformed into an insect. The difficulties that he faces on being an insect after being transformed to one from being a human, they have been very beautifully discussed in this book. And the point of this book, or what this book tries to emphasize to the reader, is that how much you can do with what you actually have, rather than striving for things which you don't have in life. Most of us just think that we are not able to do great things in life just because of the absence or the unavailability of certain needs that we consider in our life. But in this book, it shows how much we need to make use of what things we have, rather than think of things that we don't have and waste time. If you are looking for such type of motivation, then you have to read this one. It is also a very short book. You can read this within an hour also. The next book that I'm recommending is We Should All Be Feminists by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. Now, in this book, the author discusses certain points. It is also a very short book. Okay, it will take also an hour or an hour and a half to read because it's very it is such short a book. And the things that she discusses, they are mostly based on how equally people need to be treated. Just because of the fact that a person is from a different gender doesn't mean that they are superior in any sense, rather it be a man or a woman. She has put that in a proper way in this story, and also while reading this you will be able to get insights of how a person from an opposite gender feels about another person. Now, if you're a man, there might be certain misconceptions about how women behave, and also if you are a woman, there might be certain misconceptions in your mind on of how women behave, and how we are in such a society where the two genders are not equally treated, even now, though being in the 21st century. But the actual feminism, or the actual equality that we all need to follow, has been very well represented and spoken well by this author in this book. Next book that I'm recommending is the best and the most favorite book of mine when it comes to non-fiction or self-help, and it is How to Be a Bawse by Lilly Singh. Now in this book, Lilly Singh, who's the most famous YouTuber in the world, has put out certain things that she has experienced in her early 20s, and how they have shaped her to be the person that she is right now. It is such a great book, guys. I'm sure that you will be able to relate to a lot of things that she speaks about in this book. She is so open of what she's trying to say. She doesn't shy away while saying certain things which you need to face in life in order to become better. And also, she continuously emphasizes that you need to work hard, you need to persevere, and you have to do the thing which matters to you the most, despite what others think or others say. I cannot say how much you need to read this book, because you have to read this book, you need to read this book, and I'm sure that after reading this book you will want to make others read this book as well. The last book that I'm recommending today is Becoming by Michelle Obama. Now this is the memoir of Michelle Obama, written by herself, and in this she just puts forth her story, or the life story of her life, in such a beautiful way, guys. Her writing is excellent. It is very much motivation. It is precise, to the point, and cut short properly. There is nothing that is not necessary that has been written by Michelle Obama in this one, and especially we get to see the actual personal life of the Obamas rather than the how to say political life which they led due to being the president and the first lady. She just depicts each and everything from her childhood, when she was like 5 or 6 years old, until the presidentship of them finished off. It has been very greatly said by her, narrated by her. If you can get hands on the audiobook, do try that one, because she has narrated it as herself, and hearing a person's life story in their own voice, it is a really good experience, guys. I listened to this on audio and it was excellent. Even How to Be a Boss, it was also narrated by Lilly Singh herself. It was so good. You have to try these two books. They are very much motivation. I'll not say that these are motivation just for women, because of the only fact that they are written by women. They are motivation to any person who's trying to do greater things in life, and in order to become a very better person, then you have to read these two books, and any of the 10 books that I've read, suggested in this one. Actually, the first 8 books which I've suggested in this video are very short. You can just sit down and read them in like 2 or 3 hours max per book, and these two, they'll take just a bit more time comparatively. Becoming will take a lot of time because it's a huge book, and it is very much worth the time that you will spend in it. How to Be a Boss is also a bit huge, but it is so easy to read, so relatable, so practical in every sense. So I highly suggest you to try all the things that have been said in these books in order to become a better person in your 20s itself. That's all for today, and if you did find this video useful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also share it to your friends. If you want to get more content from me, do subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day.